In this hands-on, I'll be showing you two different things in one video. In the first video, I will show you how we can upload a Python program into S3 and write the Lambda function using that Python program. So that is the first thing that we are going to do. And I'll be uploading the code here in lambda underscore code. The Python code that I'm going to update, it would contain some library like PyMySQL, which is not given by AWS Lambda environment out of the box. There are certain libraries which are already there with Python and certain libraries which are there in the AWS Lambda environment itself. For example, Boto3. Boto3 is something that we do not have to install separately. The module does not have to be installed. If we import Boto3 in the Python program, the Lambda environment will provide that to us automatically. There can be scenarios where we have to use some third-party libraries. For example, PyMySQL, which is used to do MySQL database operations. So that's what I'm going to show you here. So first, I'll upload the code here in Python, and I'll show you how we can use this S3 location in the Lambda function itself, in the Lambda function definition itself. And then I'll show you how we can create a deployment package with additional libraries. Now I have written this code. I am importing Boto3 operating system and PyMySQL. PyMySQL is something which is not there. This library is not there in this entire project. This is the same function that we had used in the last hands-on, write file to S3, but I have created a new function, write to MySQL. And here I'm sending the MySQL host, user, password, database, etc., making a MySQL connection, creating a cursor, and then reading the employee data file, which is getting downloaded from S3. And then from there, I'm just inserting the employee ID and email ID into the EMP table. I'll have to create the EMP table in a MySQL database. I'll be using Aurora Serverless. And then we have defined process data, which was already there. Now in the handler, I'm getting this database flag, either yes or no or y or n. If the database flag is y, then I'll have to pass the database host, database user, password, database name, etc. And then use this operation, write to MySQL, to connect to the database, read from the file, and then insert it into the MySQL table. So I have missed one thing. I need the S3 client and the download file code here also, because I need to read the file from here itself. So I'm using S3 client, and I'll have to pass the S3 bucket and the S3 object key here as well in this function. And I'll have to call the function by passing the S3 bucket and the object key. And then I will actually extract the bucket key and the object key here itself. So this is the source bucket. Actually, I should have named it as S3 source bucket and S3 source object key. Then it would have made more sense. Anyway, now I'll be executing this code, and this code should give error because PyMySQL is not there. Now I'll create a new function which will load the program from S3. I'm naming it as S3 trigger to MySQL. The runtime would be Python. I'll be using Intel architecture, and I'll be selecting the same Lambda role that I have been using. It has the administrator access, and the VPC would be the same, which is 3 IAM Spark VPC. The subnets would be all public subnets. The security group would also be public security group, and that's it. So once the creation is done, then we'll have to do the configuration. I'll have to add a trigger here. I can add the trigger from here also in this diagram, or I can add the trigger from the configuration also. Any one is fine. So let me show you how you can add the trigger from here. The source would be S3, and let's mention only all object create events. It's the same bucket, 3am data engineering volume 2, and the event types would be all object create events, not delete events, and then the prefix, which is 3im Spark input files and Lambda input. That's it. Let's add the trigger. This is the error I'm getting, that configuration is ambiguously defined, cannot have overlapping suffixes in two rules if the prefixes are overlapping for the same event type. So actually you had already defined the event type for this prefix. So what it will do, it will execute both the Lambda functions. We have another Lambda function, right? So So I'll be creating a new folder which is lambda s3 to MySQL, and let's go ahead and add this trigger. All right, so this is done. Okay, now let's do the other configurations. The first one is the timeout, and I'll change it from 3 seconds to maybe 5 minutes, and 5 minutes 3 seconds. So this is done. Triggers we have already added. The prefix is 3am Spark input files and lambda s3 to MySQL. This is the folder. There's no destination. We need multiple environment variables here. Now let's add all the environment variables. The first one is dv flag, which is y. And if the dv flag is y, we'll have to provide all these different variables. Let's just type some arbitrary values because it should fail in the PyMySQL itself. VPC is already given. There is no RDS, nothing else as such. So everything is done. Now the next thing that we have to do is the code. So the code is not the lambda function, right? It is there in the S3 folder. So let's upload it from an S3 location. And here you see the code has to be a zip file. So it cannot be the Python file directly. It has to be the zip file, and we'll have to provide the URL. So to provide it as a zip file, we'll have to create a zip folder. Now let us go ahead and create a zip file and then upload it. To create a zip file, you'll have to go to the location here, and this is the file actually, lambda s3 trigger write to mysql.py, and we'll have to create a zip file here. So we'll have to use the command line or terminal. So this is the location, and this is where my Python program is, lambda s3 trigger write to MySQL. And let us go ahead and create a zip file with the same name .zip, and the file would be this one. So it says that it has been deflated by 69%, which means that if I do an ls lhrt, I should be able to see a zip file, which is this one. And this is the zip file that has been created. Now I'll have to upload this zip file in the S3 location. So this is the lambda code. I had uploaded the py file earlier, so this cannot be used. We'll have to upload the zip file. So let us upload the zip file directly, and now I'll have to copy the URL, and this URL has to be provided in the lambda functions location. So let's save it, and you see this file has been uploaded here, and you can see the entire Python code, right? So this is the entire Python code that has been uploaded. Now we can deploy the code and run it. Now in the handler, of course, you'll have to change the handler code name and the handler function name. The code name is lambda s3 trigger file trigger write to MySQL, and the function name is s3 handler. I did not change the name. Okay, so now this is what it is. The upload is done, the updation is also done. Now I'll be deploying this package, or I'll be deploying this code. Once this is done, let us go ahead and test it out. And as I said, it should give us error. And in the CloudWatch log group, there should be one more lambda log group created once we execute the program. So this is the input file based on which you have put the trigger. So let us upload a file here, and it should trigger the lambda function, and the lambda function should fail. Now let's look at the log groups. This is the new log group that has been created, lambda s3 trigger to MySQL, and there should be one log stream that I have executed just now, and of course it is error which says import module error. The error is that no module named PyMySQL. So this is an expected error. Now I'll upload the Python code with the third-party deployment package. But in this particular video, I wanted to show you how we can use the S3 location. How do we zip a Python file and then upload it to an S3 location and use that S3 location for the code. Now again, for the zip action, what I did was I created this zip file. This is the syntax, by the way. After zip, we'll have to mention the zip file name and the actual file name. Now in this case, the actual file name is the Python program, and this is the zip file name. So after this, the zip file name got created. Then I uploaded this file to S3 and provided the S3 location.